Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your day. Welcome back to Wealth Reimagined on the Family Bloodline Network. I'm your host, Maya Kay. Super excited to be back with you. It's another Monday, and what a weekend it has been. But I hope that everybody is like excited about next weekend. Next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. I don't know how you celebrate it, but this year, I am going to be attending my family reunion, and I haven't been since I was a sophomore in high school. I'm not going to tell you how old I am now, but just know that that's a long time and that my daughter is a sophomore in high school now. So you get the idea of how long that's been, but I'm really excited and looking forward to that weekend, Memorial Day weekend with my family. And them getting to meet my daughter, one of my daughters at least, and who is also, shout out to my oldest daughter, Sabrina, who will be graduating from high school, and many honors to follow. I'm hoping the cords that we've ordered will be here in time so she can wear them. They're very proud of her. Finishing high school, I really can't believe it. Like I told her, I'm like, I literally just brought you home from the hospital. I don't understand how we have gotten here, but here we are. I'm very excited and extremely proud of her. And then my youngest daughter, unfortunately, she will not be able to attend. However, that is due to her qualifying in her hurdles event. And she will be advancing on to sectionals, and I'm going to miss it. I hate that I'm going to miss her sectionals competition, but I told her to think of me and run for me. And, depending on how she does, she'll advance on the state. So put the good vibes out there for her. And, congratulations, Sydney, for completing and qualifying in districts. So you are now advancing on to sectionals. So very proud of both of them. So today we're going to talk about something that really got me started in this. It really got me started in this. We're going to talk about credit. And it's actually changed a little, but not a lot. And all I mean by that is there are certain factors that make up your credit score. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today is credit score. What makes up the credit score? How do some of your behaviors, how do our behaviors impact our credit score? Understanding how to maybe leverage it. Maybe once you understand the factors that impact it, it will get your gears turning on how to leverage it. I think there's a little bit of an obsession when it comes to credit that is not necessary, because its intention really wasn't, I guess, to live on. But a lot of people have made it to where that's what they do, where they're just living on it. When something comes up, you get a loan or you charge it. And while it is handy for that, it shouldn't be your only, as we've talked about on other episodes, that shouldn't be your emergency fund. Your backup plan shouldn't be your credit card. You should have cash in the bank. You should have an emergency fund established. And so I think it's really just getting a different mindset around it, and we'll get there. I'm not saying that that's where you have to be at the end of this 30-minute episode. More importantly, I want you to know what factors and what behaviors make up your credit score. And that's really it today. That's it today. I mean, there's a lot that we could talk about. We could talk about things that credit scores impact. We could talk about, oh my gosh, just things that I see a lot of people think. I think I mentioned it on another episode as well. Oh, I have a 700 credit score, I have an 800 credit score. Doesn't mean you're going to get approved. spoiler alert, like you're not getting approved strictly on a credit score. So just understanding how to leverage it, how to use it, and really putting it in your financial toolbox. That's really what we're going to get into today. So I'm glad I actually went in and I looked at this because they have expounded on it a little bit from when I started this 10 years ago. About 10 years ago now, that was when I really jumped into wanting to help people understand credit, help them understand, like I was saying, seeing it as a tool and how to leverage it. And there were 5 factors then. Well, now they have broken them down into now where there's more. There used to be the top 2 that had the biggest impact, which were payment history and utilization. And I believe then it was like 35% was payment history and 30% was utilization. Well, I thought I would share. I went ahead and pulled it up. This will be my first time doing screen share. So let's see if I can get it. All right. Okay. I did a little practice backstage. So, okay, I got it. So they broke it down actually a little bit more. They actually added more emphasis on payment history. So now 40% of your credit score has to deal with your payment history. 20% of your credit score has to deal with utilization. 11% has to do with your balances that you carry. 21%. This one's new. Actually, the way they have them worded, a lot of them seem new, but they're not really. They've just kind of broken it down more. But anyhow, 21% depth of credit. 5% is recent credit. And 3% is available credit, which is just the other side of utilization. So I don't know why they broke them up into more categories, but it's fine. We're going to go over them together, though, because I think it'll be easy for you to just get it straight from the credit bureau. So we're going to look at TransUnion. TransUnion is one of the 3 major credit reporting companies, and it's the one I'm most familiar with, but TransUnion is one, Equifax is another, and Experian is the third. These are the 3 most popular ones. And this model, though, so this is actually something you should understand. This model that it's talking about here for this breakdown is for a credit score model called Vantage Score 3.0. So there are more than one credit score model. And it's important that you know that because people like to go on creditkarma.com or whomever else will give you a credit score. You got to pay attention to which credit score model it's giving you. Because what ends up happening is people are like, oh, well, I have a 729 credit score, just to go to a bank who may be using a different credit score model. And your credit score is not a 729. Your credit score is 709. I mean, it could be lower. My point is that it's not going to match if it's a different model. So I always encourage people that when you're looking at your credit score, just use it as a gauge of about the range you're in, because depending on which model the lender is using, there could be some margin in that number. Okay. So let me see. I know I shared the screen. However, let's see if I can make it do what I need to do. So let's dive into the 40%, which is the highest. This is what has the most impact on your credit score, payment history. And prior to them changing it from 35 to 40%, payment history was still the big factor in credit. So what impacts your credit history? Late payments. Late payments impacts your credit history. When you get to being over 30 days late, and hear what I'm saying, 30-day late payments or more start to impact your credit score. So while I don't want to encourage you ever to be laxed with payments, because you will still acquire late fees. And here in this community, we don't waste money. We're not paying late fees. We're not paying interest. Okay. We're not wasting money here. We're not going to waste money and have our hard-earned money go into a late fee. Right. Life happens. So I'm not trying to say I can't tell you it better not ever happen. But here, hey, we're not trying to have money going out the door unnecessarily to like a late fee, right? So that's why I remember when back during financial literacy month, I was like, hey, you need to write all these things down. You need to know what your due dates are. And I believe I would have to go back and listen to myself. I believe I said, and you need to know what the grace periods are. And if I didn't say it, you probably want to know what your late fees would be too if you were late. Okay. But something like that generally is happening before you get to 30 days. It's almost like a shock to you to say, oh, hey, your payment's 10 days late. Here's your late fee. You're outside of your grace period. Right? You had a 10-day grace period to get this payment. Now you're outside of that. Here's a late fee. Okay. That's almost there to try to get your attention, to shock you like, oh, shoot, I got a late fee. I ain't trying to pay extra. So you don't get to 30 days, because once you get to 30 days, now they got to report your late payment to the credit bureaus. And once that late payment hits the credit bureaus, it will have a major impact on your credit score. Okay. Especially if you generally have good credit. So if you are already in the 7s and the 8s, if you get a late payment, you could drop like 100 points. And since they've changed the mix here of the factors, I'm going to make sure that's still the case. And when we are doing more credit episodes, if that's not right, I will be sure to give you correct information. But in the past, something like that, immediate 100-point drop. Reason being is because this is out of your normal behavior. You always pay on time. You've never had a late payment. What is going on? Something must have happened. Something must have happened here to cause you to suddenly miss a payment for like a month. They penalize you major for that. So payment history, 40%. They're saying lenders want to know you're good at paying back your loans on time. That would be true. That would be true. Lenders want to know they're going to get their money back. You go to the bank, you ask for money. Hey, they'll give you money. Sure, here you go. As long as the lender knows you are going to pay them back. And your credit score is an indicator of the likelihood of that happening. Okay. Depending on the type of lender, they might still give you the money, knowing the odds of you paying them back are low. But your interest rate on that loan reflects that uncertainty. It's not even really an uncertainty. Your credit score actually is pretty telling of people's behavior. So anyhow, want to make sure you're good at paying back your loans on time. So naturally, your payment history is an important credit score factor. Consistently making on-time payments for your accounts can help you build and maintain a healthy credit score. Alternatively, missing payments can have a significant negative impact on your credit score. That's what I was just telling you. So that is in alignment. Credit depth now is 21%. Credit depth is an influential factor that considers your credit mix. And before they called it credit depth, that's what it was. It was like credit mix. They wanted to see a mixture of types of debts that you were managing. They want to see, okay, you got your mortgage, you got your installment loan, car loan, credit card, and they want to see that you can manage these various types of debts well. But I'll let them tell it. A long history of credit with a diverse mix of accounts can help your score. If you have different types of credit and are managing them well, like a credit card, car loan, and others, it can show lenders you can manage credit responsibly. Does that mean you should go out and buy a car just to get a new installment account on your report? Of course not. Financial decisions should be made with your entire financial picture in mind, not just your credit score. As your finances and credit mature and your credit history becomes longer and remains in good standing, your score will benefit. If you close an account, you may see a drop in your score, especially if it is one of your older accounts. This is because the credit depth factor also takes into account the age of your credit account. And yes, if you can show you've had an account long, like long term, 10, 15, 20 years, that's good. I personally have accounts on my credit that I don't even use them anymore. I paid them off and I cut up the card, but I left the account open. That helps me maintain what they now call credit. Well, this was about credit depth. I think they just kind of threw that in there. We'll pin that, but it shows that you've maintained it for a long time. And so that has a positive impact on your score. So let's keep going. Credit utilization, 20%. Your credit utilization is a percentage of how much credit you're using compared to your total credit limit. This one has always been there, but it used to be 30%. Now it's only 20%. So if your total credit limit is $10,000 across your accounts and you have an outstanding balance of $3,000 across your accounts, your utilization ratio is 30%. Paying off credit card balances in full every month will help you save money on interest, right? Remember I said technically the right way you're supposed to be using the credit card is paying it in full every month. Why? Because we don't pay interest here, not on a credit card. No. So paying off in full will help you save money on interest charges and keep your utilization rate low. If you're trying to pay down debt, shooting for under 30% utilization is a good goal, and I would agree. But the lower, the better. I believe 10% is really what you should be shooting for. 0 to 10%. Much of the focus for credit utilization is on your revolving accounts. Yes. Credit cards are what is causing your credit score to yo-yo. So let's say you got a small $500 credit limit. When you first got it, right, you were like, oh, I'll just put something on here, $50. I'm gonna get some gas. Let me get some gas and put some gas on here. And you were okay, right? But let's say you get to the end of the closing month for your card, and you've run it up to $450 of your $500. Now you're one, over 30%. Two, you only have $50 left on that card. You don't have any utilization except for $50 out of your $500 available or not available now, but your $500 credit. that impacts your score to be tapping your credit limit like that. It impacts your score to be over your credit limit. When you max out your $500 card and then all you paid was the minimum payment and your interest way more than your minimum payment, now put your balance over your limit, negatively impacts your credit score. If you can keep your credit balances, credit card balances, because as it says, this is referring to revolving accounts like credit cards. There are, like if you have like a line of credit at a bank, it could impact this as well because it's reporting as revolving. But that's, if you're ever like, why is my score 700? Then you'll use your credit card. Didn't pay it off at the end of the month. Dang, how I get to 620? Because your utilization is extremely low. You don't have any more available credit. And that's sending a signal like, there must be something going on. This person's not able to pay their credit cards off. Okay. So let's see. What else are they saying here? So I give you a little credit utilization example. You get it. Simple math. 10% of credit limit across all cards and you owe $3,000, you're already at 30% utilization rate. Anything higher than that will make your credit score drop. Balances now are 11%. Total balances is a simple measure of the total amount of the balances owed on all your accounts. This includes both current and delinquent installment and revolving accounts. Like your utilization, high balances could be an indicator you may be in trouble making payments in the future. And I just said that on the last one. It is. It's an indicator that something must be going on. Uh-oh, what happened? Why are they all of a sudden maxed? 9 times out of 10, it's because whatever you ended up putting on that credit card is because you did not have cash to do it. You did not have cash ready for that expense. And that's what I want to break you out of. Being prepared for when it happens, not if. It will happen. The car will break down. You will get a flat tire. You will have an unexpected emergency. Something medical could come up. It will happen. The air conditioning is going to break. It's just when. When is it going to break? So 11% balances is what's making up your credit score. Recent credit, 5%. This one's about increase. This, I forget how much. I feel like this used to be 10%, but okay. Recent credit is now 5%. When you apply for a new credit account, it may result in a hard inquiry on your credit report. Hard inquiries can signal that you are looking to take on more debt, but they have a relatively minor impact on your credit score because it's only 5%, right? The impact of hard inquiries on your credit score tends to lessen over time, and they fall off your credit report after 2 years, okay? So if you keep applying for credit, you have applied for every credit card at the mall because every time you go in the store, they say, would you like to save 10% on your purchase today by opening up a store account? And you say yes. I always say no. I didn't always used to be that way. I've learned. I learned. Nobody told me, right? I thought I was like, yeah, I want to save 10%. That'll drop this down. No, I got cash for this. You don't need your credit card. That doesn't mean if you are disciplined and it is a specific purchase. Oh, because I've done that, buying large appliances or things like that. Hey, do you want to save 10% opening up an account? I already got the cash for it. I was going to buy it, but do I want to miss out on this 10% discount on this refrigerator, on this washer and dryer? Nah, I don't. Right. So, again, understanding how to use it though, not getting sucked into, sure, I'll take 10%. And it was nothing because you're paying way more than that 10% savings you got from opening that store card because you did not pay it off that same month. What was the point? And now you've paid more for it. You didn't save anything. So, multiple credit inquiries look like desperation. There must be some type of need. There is a need that you don't have cash to resolve. Then you keep applying, you keep applying, you keep applying. And now you got hard inquiry, hard inquiry, hard inquiry, hard inquiry. And yes, 5% only, but it still will cause a drop. It will cause a drop. It may not be as significant as if you had a late payment, but it still is sending that behavior of applying, applying, and applying is saying, I don't have cash. Generally, I don't have cash for this. That's what it's saying for most people. Okay. All right. And then available credit, 3%. The available credit factor analyzes whether you have more credit at your disposal than you may need. To me, that's the flip side of utilization. What's your available credit? How much have you used and what's your available credit? But that's how they have it broken down now. Okay. So that's not my setup. Is this it? There we go. So those are the breakdowns now of your credit score. Those are the things that are impacting. And I don't know if any of that resonates with your current situation. I hope it was something you were able to take away and learn. What's impacting my score? Why does my score go up and down, up and down? One day it's this, the next day it's that, right? Usually it's utilization of credit cards. Usually it's utilization of credit cards is what's causing it to yo-yo. Now, like I said, payments, got to make those payments on time. You are rewarded. You are rewarded for making on-time payments by having a higher credit score. You are basically being rewarded for having debt. That sounds funny. They're rewarding you for having debt. But they say you shouldn't be in debt. They say everybody's trying to be debt free. And see, and that's why it's important to understand then how credit works, because all it is a tool in your financial toolbox to get to your financial goals. Its purpose is not for you to live off of. Okay. So it's a tool in your toolbox. It could be a tool in your toolbox to acquire a home. It's a tool in your toolbox to have lower insurance rates. It's a tool in your toolbox to get that job you applied for. It could be a tool in your toolbox to buy a car, because a lot of people finance their cars, right? But that's it. That's it. And if you think, and this will be another episode, if you think you have to have a credit card in order to build credit, oh, no, you don't. Credit cards are not the only way for you to build credit, but we're going to save that for another episode. I'm excited to share with you things you probably didn't know about building credit, without a credit card. But this is why you have to already be thinking about these things and setting goals and having a plan in place. Will a credit card give you, you know, I guess an instant credit score? No. It takes, I believe, at least 3 months before score reports for you, even if you just open up a card. And, you know, depending what we just looked at, depending on how much you have on that card versus the balance, that will determine your credit score. And if it's under 30%, you could have a really high credit score. But if you just open up a credit card and you've made 3 payments on it and you have a credit score, you still don't have enough credit history. You're not going to get a loan. You're not going to be approved for a loan generally, right? Because I'm speaking of if you don't have an established a relationship with a financial institution with a certain amount of money in their institution, where maybe you can show good handling of your checking account and a good discipline to save money, right? Sometimes that'll help you. Sometimes it just depends on the financial institution. But we're gonna save that for another episode. So leave comments, send me questions. If there's something specific besides credit repair that you want to know about with credit, let me know. Then the reason I say it like that is because once you understand how credit works, you can repair your own credit. You can repair your own credit. You don't have to hire people to do that. And depending on your planning and your goals, and when you're trying to do something, you will have time to repair it. Don't have to pay and have everything wiped from it and all that, and whatever. But I'm not doing credit repair questions. I'll just say that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help you understand the tool that credit can be for your financial goals. So that's all I got for you today. Again, like I said, questions, comments, leave them. I will find them. I will read them. I will answer them. But until next time, remember, Wealth Reimagined is financial literacy for real life. So like and subscribe if you have not done so yet. And I will catch you in a week. Have a great day.